Okay, so the next question. How do I reach out to potential workshop participants who want or can afford to take part? I marketed.
I did a matter class and I advertised for it, and everyone was really excited about it, but only had one sign up.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you got a workshop. How do you fill it up?
Yeah, how do you actually get because it seems like people couldn't afford it when actually it's really reasonably priced. And
Yeah, it's almost never about the price. So let's talk about this. I got this in the wrong position. Should put it on the other side. Try this.
Is this content for your website?
It may be. Yeah. Be great editing for the person who has to edit it. Okay. Yeah. So how do you fill a workshop? And, or there's two questions. There's one, how do you get people into a workshop? But there's a bigger question of if you put out an offer and there's no response, why?
Yeah.
How do you troubleshoot this? So if you put out an offer and there's no response, well, there's more of this in the starter kit, but I'll give you the précis, the introduction. So these are the 3 roles of marketing. Every bit of marketing that you ever do will have to fulfill these 3 roles. These 3 roles in this order. First role, and this is also a way you can check where did it fall apart. Yeah. First is you've got to get their attention. The second is you've got to filter. Third, you've got to lower the risk of them taking the first step. Those 3. Get their attention, filter, lower the risk. So that becomes the very first question, yeah? Is if you put something out and it doesn't get a response, is it that you did not get the attention of enough of your people? That could be true. You know, some people say, yeah, I put out this workshop and there was no response. How many people did you promote to? Well, I've got 20 people on my email list. Okay, mystery is resolved now. So that's number 1. Did you get attention of enough of the right people? But then there's the filtering. And by the way, with attention, this is, with here, we're talking about, fundamentally, this is, there's the cold approach, the warm approach, the hot approach. The cold approach, this is the talking to strangers I talked about earlier. The warm approach is the girl guide, selling girl guide cookies at the weed shop. Yeah, she's there with a hub. And the hot approach is you have become a hub. You've got such a reputation that it's just all word of mouth for you. So, it's, people will say, well, I just didn't get a response. Well, who were you reaching? A small number of strangers. Okay, really, we just stop there. That's what we have to fix. That's the solution. And then the filtering. There's 3 levels of filtering. And this is one of the main places I'm looking at of why did something not work. So 3 levels of filtering. So we've got R, C, and V. So we've got its relevance, credibility, and value. So relevance, just is this the kind of thing they want? Is this what they're interested in? Because you could get attention of enough people, but if you get I can get attention of a large group of people easy. Put me down on the Royal Mile, I'll get attention of everybody there. I'll just start screaming and taking off my clothes. And everyone will look. Yeah, that's not the hard part. But now they look, and is this relevant? No. Somebody's just losing their mind. Okay, I see this every Friday at 11 p.m. Fine, they move on. So the first thing is, now that they're looking at you, do you have something that's relevant? And so this often comes down to the headline, the first thing they read. Because if the first thing they read is quantum healing is a deep transformative healing technique that relies on the loving field of all that is in the seventh phase of, it's just like, there's so much jargon. And it's about you instead of being about them. So there's a lot to say about this, but if you can't establish relevance in about 3 seconds, over. Or if you can't establish relevance because it's everything for everybody, come to my workshop, Life Success 101. It's just, we're well past that. Maybe in the 60s or 70s, that workshop could go. Not anymore. So, examples of this, Nisanka, who I talked about earlier, coaching with Nisanka.com. Are you co-parenting with a narcissistic ex? Boom. The relevance is there or not for you, but you're not fuzzy about it. Another one, LarissaNoonan.com. Her headline was something like, do you want to be a witchy healer, but you grew up in a fundamentalist religious home? That's real specific. You know if you're that or not.
It's very Cleo pipeline that though.
Yeah, yes. But so the relevance has to be there. And if the relevance isn't there, if it's too fuzzy and too vague, then that's the next thing I look at.
Yeah.
Was it just too nebulous? They couldn't quite grasp what it was, whether it was a fit or not. Then there's the credibility. So it might be like, okay, I do struggle with migraines. True. You're offering something about migraines. It's relevant. You have my attention. And now I'm listening. But maybe I'm just like, who are you? I don't know who you are. Why the fuck should I trust you? So I don't have the credibility. And you're asking for how much money? How much time? Yeah, we've all had this where it's just, I gotta get to know you better. So it could be that, and it could be the value. And the value is just the return on investment. This is kind of the pitch. This is, here's how much you pay, here's what you get. And that might not be clear. It's often, it's usually one in this, first chunk. It's either you're just not getting attention of enough of the right people, or if you are, it's one of those three.
Yeah.
So it's good to know which it is, because if it's relevance, well, this is the niching thing. Credibility, this, that's the niche. Credibility often comes down to the point of view. It could also, sharing your story and all this. And then the value, this is more of the business model consideration. But there's a resource around value. This is free. This is from a book called Leadsology by a guy named Tom Poland. And if you go to marketingforhippies.com/value slider, there's a resource that can take you through 10 sliders on how valuable is your offer in the perception of the client.
Can you give me the name of the guy in the book again?
You'll see it here. If you just go to marketingforhippies.com/value slider, there's the link to the book and everything. But it's laid out there. And there's a little Google form you can fill out to rank yourself, just, as a way to check. But so, for example, we all fundamentally want the same things in terms of value. All things being equal, would you like the result to be faster or slower to achieve? All things being equal, would you like it to be simpler or more complicated? Yeah. All things being equal, would you like the change to be very modest or dramatic?
Dramatic.
Yeah. Basically, and you want it to be measurable or not? Yeah, you want, I want to be able to, because if I say, look, the offer we have is you are going to be healthier, not very measurable, not very specific. But I say, we're going to help you, I'll be measurable. You're going to lose 1 pound every year. Okay, that's measurable, but it's not very dramatic. You see? Anyways. It'll take you through this, any offer that you have, and you can sort of see where is it strong or weak. Because it's not just, is it valuable or not, is it perceived as valuable or not. There's like 10 different criteria that you can use, and you'll notice you're strong on some and weak on others. And that'll help you bump it up. Then there's the risk piece. And the risk piece is sometimes you can get all of this, and you have somebody who's saying, like, yes, that's relevant. Yes, I trust you. Yes, that's a great deal. And they still don't buy. Why would it be that they still don't buy? Sometimes it's because the risk is too big. Financially, emotionally, socially. You know, am I going to sign up for your group program around sex addiction? You see what I'm saying? There's a risk.
That's the too soon.
Well, it could be too soon, but and there's also just plain risk.
Okay.
Like, I'm outing myself.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think all the recovery meetings are in the back of a church? It's not like, Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, we're starting. So, hey, good to see you again, Barry. Barry Kaufman, my friend. You know, Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, the anonymity, because the risk is so high. People outing themselves. So we got, you know, if you're here and you've got your product or service, and they're here and they got the money, and again, they might be saying yes, big fat yes to what you're doing. But in between you, there's this wall of risk. And it's too high. They can't jump over it. So if you can reduce it, eliminate it, or even turn it into a downward slope, that's the thing. And if you go to marketingforhippies.com/risk, you'll see there's 3 different fundamental ways we reduce risk. Basically, it's education, reputation, or guarantees. And you'll see a lot of examples, real world examples of the guarantees. So, okay, so that's the layout, basically. When I'm trying to figure out why is something not working, I'm checking it through these things. So in your situation, why do you think that was that it didn't? What would you guess?
The one thing is like maybe I did it like too close. I did the marketing too close to when the workshop actually started.
Oh, okay, there you go. There's also that. Yeah.
That was all very helpful though, anyway.
Yes.
The relevance, I've got the credibility, I've got the value. I think the risk was low because I have been doing other workshops for lots of people for many years, so like I'm known for like the type of work I do. And people were like, oh, it'd be great to have a 2 days masterclass. Here it is, here's a 2-day masterclass. Silence.
Well, okay. So this is the other thing. So first of all, timing is a big piece of this. This is the classic challenge with filling workshops. It's 3 weeks before the workshop. You haven't promoted shit. And now you scramble. It's flailing in the last 3 weeks. It's not going to work. My usual advice is cancel it and give yourself more time. You know, you want to have a plan to promote it. That plan should probably, you're thinking about it 6 months out. You're booking the venue. If there are hubs, you're already reaching out to the hub 6 months before, giving yourself time to do it. So it's not a panic, flailing thing at the end, which never, ever, it so rarely works. So there's that. And then the other thing is, if it doesn't work and you look at this over, sometimes it's very obvious. You'll look it over and you say, fuck, I really didn't get the relevance. I can see it now. But sometimes you'll be confused, flummoxed. Why not? So the move I suggest, I got this from a colleague of mine, Rebecca Tracy, email your list and say, I thought there was going to be a bigger response on this and I wasn't, and I'd love to know why. If you'd be willing to tell me. Because I was really, man, I had high hopes. All the signs were go that this was going to get a big response, and just nothing. And sometimes it's just, oh, it's too soon. Or, oh yeah, there's this festival happening that weekend and we're all going to that festival. Or you'll start to hear the price was too high. Price too high means perception of value too low. It's not really a price thing. They're not saying it's too expensive. They're saying, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the return on investment is there. Because if I said to you, give me $1,000 and I'll give you $10,000 right now, you know, we're doing a social experiment. You just happen to be the beneficiaries of this. Sure, okay. I mean, weird, sketchy, but I'll risk it, you know, because it's 10-time return on investment. Fine. Yeah, you got it.
But I mean, then you assume that they have the money in the first place.
Yes, true. And have you ever found money for something that you didn't have money for?
Yeah.
I'm not saying all the time. Of course, I know sometimes people just broke, but there's a couple things in this. So first of all, and you may have had this with your clients, they say, oh, I really can't afford that. And oh, another news, hey, I'm going to Cancun next for this festival. And you're like, uh-huh. You got money for the fun stuff. Nice new nails. Nice new dress.
Yeah.
Nice, new TV you got there.
Got a selfie the other day.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes it's really they don't have money, and sometimes that's a cover for. It's just not a priority, which doesn't mean it should be. That's not a. It's no problem.
That's not a good fit for you.
It may
That's
just-
their attitude anyway.
It may not be a good fit, but also sometimes what happens is when people start looking at who they're trying to reach, it's like, yeah, all the people you're trying to reach are broke. So then you don't have a business, you have a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And just for the mercy of everybody, just make it a nonprofit and do fundraising.
Or a social enterprise.
Or social, but don't try to get, it's like, well, yeah, I want to be a life coach for homeless people, but none of them are signing up for my webinars. You see, that's on the extreme. Okay, they can't afford it. So why are you trying to get money from them?
Yeah.
And apply, sketchier tactics to get the money and to push. Instead, you might say, yeah, I want to support these people who do not have the money. So I'm going to start somewhere where I can fundraise. I either get individual donors, maybe there's grants, maybe I can get sponsorships, maybe there could be other ways that you can still be paid to do what you want to do that don't rely on those people having to pay all or any of the things. But it's just good to know, are my people broke? And if so, change it. That's a business model thing. Yeah. So, but it's the main thing I'd say is if you have something that doesn't fly and you don't know why, find out. Don't just whoops, no idea. I would dig into it. Ask the people why they didn't respond. Really look at it. Take it through some of these things. Why?
Sort of feel like this is somehow adjacent. What if you've got, when you're talking about the risk and the outing themselves, what if you have clients who have had success, but because of the intimacy of the work, they're not really sharing that they've had this transformational, so I'm just wondering about that piece.
Yeah, so you have, right, you do some kind of work, it's very powerful, but it's not the kind of things that people talk about. Anger issues or pornography addiction or something. There's certain things that people,
Or women just there tends to be women who are transitioning out of a life that was not serving them and they're deeply unsatisfied and they don't want their peers and to know that they're actually miserable as fuck. Maybe not the pornography piece, more like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's for whatever reason they're ashamed to talk about it, they don't want people to know.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that will shift over time. Sometimes over time they will open up. And sometimes that's where hubs come from. It's just this is not going to be a big word of mouth one. My people are probably not going to talk about it or for a while, so I'm going to have to find them elsewhere and get in front of those crowds. And then sometimes you can just say to people look, I know this is hard to talk about, and it would help. It helps this if you can.
Well, yeah, I do that all the time. But there's a question here. So, in the moment where you are inviting people in, that's one of my issues. Is that I invite people in and I work with them, and suddenly I find myself that what's actually going on with this? Where are we headed? How do I find my core essence of what I do and stay with that, even if I invite people into what I'm doing?
So you're working with people and then it feels like you're not clear on...
And suddenly I found myself in a place where I was like, no, that's not my values, that's not my ethics, that's not my niche, that's not my thing. And then I step back from it.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, I would just say, if you ever have that where you start working with somebody, it's like, oh, this is not it. I don't want to work with these people or in this way. I just think that's great education. Then to me, that's going to school on why. What is it about them? And then how do I filter better? How do I craft an offering that's going to be more satisfying for me? I don't know if it ever ends, but that would be my feeling, is just learn, go to school on it. Why is this not feeling good? How do I make sure these people don't sign up with me again? And then there's also this piece around Right, and what can that tell me about my niche? What can it tell me about my point of view? Because the clearer we get on those things, the easier it is to share in front of a group of people and to make the offer and have it result in a good fit. Because in the beginning, it's just, I don't know, I just got into this healing work and I just, if you want to work with me, to transform your life, and it's great, fine, people sign up. But then the bunch of people aren't fit. So you learn, and then eventually you're standing up in front of people and say, look, I work with people who are in this moment in their life. This is my point of view about it. This is my diagnosis of what I think is happening. So I work with people who are dealing with serious health conditions. I think this is because people eat too many plant products, and I think we need to be eating more of a carnivore diet. I think we need to be eliminating plants from our diet, not adding it. That's a real thing, though. That's a very
the Lions diet.
right. So it's like, and I think that, and here's my program, and it's a year long, and you need to commit to this for the full year. And this is what will be asked of you. There'll be like 3 hours a week of homework, blah, 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 blah. And if you're not interested, fuck off. Sorry, that's too rough. But if you're not interested, this is not for you. If that doesn't resonate with you, go away. Don't come. And if this sounds like you, come talk to me. Yeah, but it's very clear. And then you get people who are more of a fit. But what happens so often is, oh, please, everybody sign. There's a bit of that. Because we need the income or whatever, versus like, please don't come if this isn't for you. It's one of the things in copywriting, writing a write-up for your thing, it's worth going back over it. Once you've done everything, you got it so good, you've got all the relevance, credibility, value, you've made the good case. Go over it one more time with this in mind. How do I make this more repulsive to the people I don't want? That they would read it and say, no.
Yeah, how do I trigger people?
Yeah, or just, how do you make it so clear? Yeah, those people are just like, yeah, no, this is not what I want. Because there are certain deal breakers. It's good to be able to name them. Nobody has to suffer them. I remember I got a sales letter from this guy, Randy Gage, did direct response marketing, and he had a 5-day workshop coming up. But he said, you should know I'm a fundamentalist Christian, there will be worship during this thing. And I just thought, God bless you, Randy Gage. I am so not interested.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine if you're a fundamentalist Christian and you have all these ethical issues about marketing, deeply religiously held, and you're tormented by it, and someone comes and says, I'm a fundamentalist Christian too, and I can show you how to do it in a way that's in alignment with Scripture, and we're going to be doing worship, you know how great you'd feel? Like, I get to show up and be my full self, and I don't have to hide it, and I get to be, oh my God. So I'm in love with it. God bless him. It's so great. It's just not for me, and I knew that. And thank God he put it, because could you imagine if he hadn't mentioned it, and all of a sudden it's stand up and it's worship time. Yeah, you're just like, ooh. So, yeah. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. Does that help at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so 9 votes. We've got, what tips do you have for building consistency in marketing? Who asked that? Who's that? All right, you're going to be sorry you asked. But glad, ultimately glad. Okay. Oh, this is the bad news. It's good news in the end, because you'll hear it and you'll know it's true, and you'll be upset but grateful. You'll hate me and you'll be thankful at the same time. This is you gotta have systems, There's a few things. One, you've got to have a plan on your marketing. Most marketing is from hippies. It's just very reactive. Yeah, it's just like, well, I'm just gonna do what I feel in the moment. And it sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Usually it doesn't work. So you need to have a plan. And this is also, this is where the niche comes in, where you don't keep inventing new stuff every year. Oh, here's a new workshop. Here's a new workshop. How about the same workshop every year? And you have a plan on how to fill it. And every kind of workshop that's like that, you have a plan on how do you fill that. It's a checklist. It's a spreadsheet. You know? It's structured. Same steps every time. Like what I would want to see from you around this is I would say, I want you to write up a plan, all the steps from the thinking about it to it is sold out. And I want to see the plan of how you're going to do it. And this is the thing, because then you think, but Tad, okay, give me the checklist. Here's the checklist. Here's $1 billion, unmarked bills, boom. If you can come up with a plan to sell at your next event, you get the $1 billion. That event is sold out. You know what I'm saying? This is not a question of is motivation, really. If it was a must, if you had to, if you could get $1 billion to sell out, no problem. Easy. And I say, okay, but actually, you know, it's $1 billion, that's a lot. So we're going to need you to sell out something every month for a year. You still do it. You find a way. So that's first. So you're going to need a checklist on how you do it. But then you start thinking about it. Okay, what would I do? I guess I might need to, maybe I post on social media. Maybe I need to send some individual messages to people. Maybe I need to start getting in front of other people's audiences so I can talk about it and share about it. Maybe I need to... and once you get the plan that works, you just keep doing that. And you make the plan better and better. Yeah. But there's got to be a plan written out somewhere that you follow. You know, yes, I do also have ideas on what can be on those lists. There's an ebook I have called The Art of the Full House about workshops in particular, if that's the kind of thing you want to fill. I've got a whole bundle called the Workshop Bundle, how to, you know, all this, how to tour. But you can really figure this out on your own. And better yet, don't do it on your own. Meet with other entrepreneurs. Meet with your colleagues and say, this is what I got so far. What am I missing? And they'll point out the incredibly obvious things like, well, are you going to have a Facebook event? Oh, yeah. Are you going to create like an Eventbrite where people can sign up? Is that on this list? Oh, no, it's not on the list. Are you going to do a Facebook ad? Oh, shit, no, I didn't. You know, you'll get ideas from other people. And again, it's a good one. Look at the people who are doing the things you want to do. What's your plan? What's your system to fill this thing up? So you make the checklist. That's one. So there's two different types of systems. Mostly consistency comes down to systems. Two types of systems. One is kind of launch systems where you're launching a new something out into the world. So a workshop, program, and offering. Have a checklist for that. Then there's the maintenance stuff. They're the maintenance systems. Okay, so everyone try this. Oh, you're gonna hate me so much. Because this just reveals the overwhelm. Here's what you're gonna do. Okay, so you got 6 boxes daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and then, I don't know. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all 5 minutes and just to start to think about what's the stuff you need to do to just maintain your business. Just keep it rolling so things don't slip through the cracks every day. You know, for example, I should check my email every day. Great. But what about every week? Every week I should read a book from or read something from my field, or I should meet with a colleague, or what about every month? Oh, every month maybe I should do a workshop every month. Or maybe quarterly I should do a workshop. Annually, taxes, fuck. Bookkeeping, yeah. Or maybe quarterly is the book, I don't know. But there's certain stuff that just to keep it running smoothly we need to do. So 5 minutes, just give it a shot. See what you can come up with on your list. Again, this is just to maintain. This isn't launching anything new. And the question was, in particular, how do I be more consistent with my marketing? So think about that right now for this list. What are the things I need to do every day, week, month to be consistent in my marketing?